Day 47 of the siege, and Marcus Chun was running inventory again. Not because he needed to, he knew exactly how many rounds remained in their armory down to the last bullet, but because the ritual kept him focused. The Veltar Confederation had surrounded Kepler Station with 12 warships, their sleek hulls gleaming against the star, field like predators circling wounded prey. They were wrong about the wounded part. The mining station hung in the void of the Kepler system's asteroid belt, its industrial arms still rotating slowly as if the siege were nothing more than a minor inconvenience, which, Marcus supposed, it was. The Veltar expected capitulation within days. Their entire military doctrine revolved around overwhelming force and quick psychological dominance. Hit hard, hit fast, watch the enemy crumble under pressure. Humans, Marcus had learned over his 30 years in corporate security, didn't crumble. They adapted. "Sir, they're broadcasting surrender terms again," called out Jenny Martinez from the communications console. The former geological surveyor had taken to monitoring alien transmissions with the same methodical attention she'd once applied to mineral deposits. "Standard terms?" Marcus asked, not looking up from his tablet. "The usual. Immediate surrender, processing as prisoners of war, relocation to designated holding facilities." Jenny paused. "They're getting impatient in their language patterns. More aggressive modifiers than yesterday," Marcus made a note. Day 47. Increasing verbal aggression indicates mounting frustration with siege duration. The Veltar were expecting panic by now, desperate attempts to break the blockade, or at minimum some form of emotional response to their overwhelming tactical superiority. Instead, they got mining schedules out every morning at 0600 station time. Marcus broadcast the daily work assignments over open channels. Shift rotations for the ore processors, maintenance schedules for the atmospheric recyclers, inventory reports for the commissary. The mundane routine of human industrial efficiency, delivered in the same calm tone he'd used when this was actually a functioning mining operation. The aliens found it disturbing. Through the station's observation deck, Marcus watched the Veltar fleet maintain their perfect formation. Textbook siege positioning, close enough to prevent escape, far enough to avoid defensive fire. Ships arranged to provide mutual covering fire if the humans attempted anything desperate. It was militarily sound, professionally executed, and completely predictable. That was the problem with doctrine. It made you predictable. Marcus had spent the first week of the siege cataloging their patrol patterns, communication frequencies, and tactical responses. Week 2 had been devoted to analyzing their crew rotation schedules and identifying individual command signatures in their transmissions. By week 3, he'd begun psychological profiling of their senior officers based on decision-making patterns. During mock engagements, the Veltar thought they were conducting a siege. Marcus was conducting a comprehensive intelligence operation. "Contact from the flagship," Jenny announced. "Commander Zethkar wants to negotiate." "Tell him I'm busy with inventory," Marcus replied, making another note on his tablet. The alien commander had been growing increasingly frustrated with the humans' apparent indifference to their situation. Good, frustrated enemies made mistakes. Outside, the alien ships maintained their vigil, patient predators waiting for their prey to finally understand the hopelessness of their situation. They'd been bred for warfare, genetically enhanced for aggression, trained from birth in the arts of combat and conquest, but they'd never learned the most dangerous human trait of all, the ability to turn waiting into a weapon. By day 60, the psychological warfare had begun in earnest. Marcus had moved beyond simple routine broadcasts to something far more unsettling. He'd started discussing the aliens' tactical patterns over open channels, analyzing their formations with the same clinical detachment he'd once used to evaluate. Mining equipment efficiency. Vessel designation Alpha 7 is running a patrol cycle approximately 14 minutes longer than optimal fuel consumption would suggest. Marcus announced during his morning briefing, ostensibly addressing his own people but broadcasting on frequencies he knew the aliens monitored. Indicates either mechanical inefficiency or crew fatigue. Probably crew fatigue, given the pattern deviations we observed in their formation flying yesterday. The silence from the alien fleet was telling. Marcus had weaponized the one thing humans did better than any other species in the galaxy: pattern recognition combined with infinite patience. While the Veltar maintained their siege, he was dissecting their entire military operation, piece by piece, broadcasting his findings like a professor critiquing a student's homework. "Sir," Jenny called from her console, her voice carrying a note of barely suppressed amusement. "We're getting increased chatter from their fleet. They single quotes discussing us." "What kind of discussion?" "The technical term their translators keep using roughly equates to unnaturally persistent, also something that might translate as disturbingly methodical." She paused. "And sir?" "Commander Zethkar just ordered his communications officer to stop monitoring our broadcasts." Marcus smiled. The alien commander was trying to protect his crew from human psychological operations, but it was too late. The seed of doubt had been planted. His warriors were beginning to understand that the prey they'd cornered was studying them with the focused attention of an apex predator. The Veltar had made a fundamental error in their assessment. They'd assumed human desperation would lead to increasingly erratic behavior, emotional outbursts, or desperate gambits. Instead, they were witnessing something that violated their understanding of siege psychology. The longer the situation continued, the calmer and more analytical the humans became. "Jenny, patch me through to the mining crew in Section C," Marcus said, settling back into his routine. Time for the afternoon efficiency report. As he began broadcasting ore processing statistics and equipment maintenance schedules, Marcus made careful note of which alien vessels adjusted their positions in response to his transmissions. Even their attempts to ignore him provided useful intelligence data. The hunters were beginning to realize they might be the ones being hunted, but they didn't understand yet that the trap had been closing around them from the very first day. Marcus wasn't running out of bullets because he was rationing ammunition. He was running psychological experiments to determine exactly how much pressure it would take to break an entire alien military formation, and he still had plenty of patience. Left. Day 78 brought the breakthrough Marcus had been waiting for. The morning broadcast began like any other routine maintenance schedules, or processing reports, atmospheric recycler efficiency ratings. Then Marcus shifted into Phase 3. "Good morning, Kepler Station personnel. Today's mining operations will focus on Asteroid Cluster 7, pending approval from our supervisory observers." Marcus paused, letting the implications settle. "Commander Zethkar of the Veltar vessel Crimson Talon, I believe you served with distinction in the Proxima campaign under Fleet Admiral Vexthul. Your tactical innovations during the siege of Meridian Station were particularly noteworthy." The silence from the alien fleet was absolute. Marcus continued in the same conversational tone he'd used to discuss drill bit specifications. "Your service record indicates 17 successful siege operations, 43 boarding actions, and a commendation for psychological warfare tactics. Your home world of Velthara is known for its crystalline spires and the annual Feast of the Crimson Moon. Your offspring recently achieved academic honors in military strategy at the Confederation Academy." Jenny stared at him from across the command center, her face pale. The other defenders had stopped what they were doing to listen. Marcus wasn't just demonstrating intelligence gathering, he was revealing the true scope of human observational capabilities. "Your second-in-command tactical officer Cresvel graduated 7th in his class from the Veltar War College. His specialization in fleet coordination protocols has served you well during this siege. His mate recently gave birth to twins on Volsec Prime. I trust they're adjusting well to parenthood." The psychological impact was surgical. While the aliens had been conducting what they believed was a siege, the humans had been conducting comprehensive intelligence operations on every individual in their fleet. Personal histories, family structures, career trajectories, psychological profiles. Marcus had been building dossiers while the aliens thought he was rationing ammunition. "Communications from the fleet, sir," Jenny reported, her voice tight. "Multiple vessels requesting permission to withdraw." "Denied, I assume." "Commander Zethkar is ordering radio silence from all vessels. He's jamming his own fleet's internal communications." Marcus made a note. Extreme defensive measures indicated complete psychological breakdown of command structure. The predators had finally realized they were trapped in a web they couldn't see, built by prey that had been studying them with the patient focus of natural hunters. "Beginning targeting analysis," Marcus announced to the station crew, but his words carried clearly over the open channels. "Vessel 7 shows stress fractures along the port hull, probably from the micrometeorite impacts they sustained during their approach. Engineering assessment suggests hull integrity is compromised by approximately 12%. Vessel 3 has been running reactor coolant cycles 15% longer than manufacturer specifications recommend." He wasn't just demonstrating intelligence gathering anymore. He was showing the aliens that he'd been analyzing their weaknesses, cataloging their vulnerabilities, preparing for the moment when patience would transform into precision action. The humans hadn't been desperately defending. They'd been methodically preparing for a hunt that was about to begin. Day 87 marked the end of the siege. Though the aliens wouldn't understand that for another 6 minutes, Marcus activated the final phase of what had never been a defense at all. "Attention, Veltar Confederation Fleet. This is Chief Security Officer Marcus Chun of the Terran Colonial Intelligence Service. Kepler Station is not a mining facility. It is a research installation specializing in xenopsychology and military intelligence gathering. For the past 87 days, you have been participating in the most comprehensive field study of Veltar military doctrine, psychological warfare resistance, and command structure vulnerabilities ever conducted." The words hung in space like a death sentence. "Every tactical decision you have made has been predicted, cataloged, and prepared for. Your siege formations follow standard Confederation doctrine as outlined in your military manual Section 7 Alpha. Revision 12. Your communication protocols match the patterns established during your training exercises at the Velkith system. Your psychological pressure tactics are derived from the Proxima Campaign Playbook." Chapter 15. Jenny's fingers flew over her console as hidden systems throughout the asteroid belt came online. Defensive satellites that had been powered down and camouflaged for months revealed themselves. Stealth ships uncloaked in perfect formation around the alien fleet. The Veltar hadn't been conducting a siege. They'd been sitting in the center of a carefully prepared trap. The ammunition shortage you believed was forcing our defensive posture was a calculated deception. We have been operating under rules of Engagement Protocol 7, minimum necessary force to maintain subject cooperation during extended psychological study. You have been test subjects, not military opponents. Commander Zethkar's voice crackled over the communications array, the first time he'd spoken directly to the humans in weeks. "Impossible. Our intelligence confirmed this facility's operational parameters. Mining equipment, civilian population, minimal defensive capabilities. Your intelligence was provided by Terran Colonial Intelligence." Marcus replied with the same clinical calm he'd maintained throughout the siege. "We have been studying your species' intelligence gathering methods for 3 years. Every piece of information you possessed about this facility was carefully crafted to ensure your tactical response would provide maximum research value." The alien commander's breathing was audible over the com. Marcus could practically feel the moment when 87 days of accumulated psychological pressure reached critical mass. You have a choice, Commander. Withdraw your fleet immediately and carry word back to your Confederation about human intelligence capabilities. Or discover what happens when humans run out of patience instead of ammunition. Marcus paused, letting the weight of revelation settle. The test is complete. Your species has provided invaluable data about the psychological breaking point where predators realize they have become prey. The Veltar fleet began its withdrawal 17 minutes later, carrying with them a lesson that would reshape galactic understanding of human warfare. We don't fight harder or longer than other species. We fight smarter. And we never stop learning.